Dead Horse, Alaska, February 9th, 2023. High above this remote oil drilling outpost, the United States Air Force detects a mysterious, unidentified flying object on radar. A pair of F-22 Raptor fighter jets are immediately scrambled to intercept the UFO. And the pilots report seeing a strange, cylindrical silver object floating in the sky.
And then the official statement was, we deemed it a threat to our airspace, we take those threats seriously, we shot it down, it's not a concern anymore. That's the end of the story.
There's this strange object hovering over Alaska, but the government never revealed what it was. Was it from China? Was it from Russia? Or was it a flying saucer?
What was the mysterious UFO that President Biden felt needed to be shot out of the sky? But this is not the first time a UFO has come to the attention of America's commander-in-chief. And many people are convinced that U.S. presidents have been hiding the truth about extraterrestrial spacecraft for more than 70 years. Washington National Airport, Washington, D.C., July 19th, 1952. Air traffic controllers detect multiple unidentified objects flying in the sky over the nation's capital.
July 19th, 1952, squadrons of UFOs flew over the Capitol. They flew over the Washington Monument. They flew over the White House. Harry Truman was the first president to actually set American policy having to do with UFOs. And here's what he did. Immediately, the explanation for all those UFOs over Washington, D.C. in 1952 was radar anomalies, temperature inversion. The pilots weren't sure what they were seeing. So will the president say UFOs are among us? Absolutely not.
Did the Truman administration cover up the truth about alien spacecraft visiting our planet? In the 1950s, many Americans believed that the government was withholding important information about UFOs. And in fact, there are those who claim that America's next president actually met with extraterrestrials. Palm Springs, California, February 20th, 1954. President Dwight D. Eisenhower is on a winter holiday when in the middle of the night, he simply disappears.
When you're president of the United States, we should know where you are at all times. But this one evening, in February of 1954, Eisenhower just goes missing. To the point where the Associated Press put out a wire saying he died. He died in the middle of the night. And then 2 minutes later, they retracted it and said, no, our mistake. And the next morning, he shows up at church. So something happened in the middle of that night that is obviously off the books, unexplained, and really strange.
Where was President Eisenhower during the time that he disappeared? Well, according to numerous accounts that surfaced after the incident, Eisenhower allegedly attended a most unusual meeting.
There's a story that on February 20th, 1954, President Eisenhower had a meeting with extraterrestrials. This took place at an airbase. Eisenhower was presumably asked to renounce and give up nuclear weapons. And in exchange, the extraterrestrials would give the US technology which would change the world. The story is that Eisenhower turned down this deal because he couldn't be sure that the Soviets would do the same thing.
Did President Eisenhower really meet with extraterrestrials? Well, if he did, the government successfully covered up any definitive evidence. But in recent years, it's become harder to keep secrets about UFOs because multiple government organizations have been actively investigating this mysterious phenomenon.
There have been several recent hearings on UFOs, both in Congress and with NASA. And so what we've seen is this subject increasingly moving out of the fringe and into the mainstream, which makes me wonder, what is it they're not telling us? The president, particularly in his capacity as commander-in-chief, can make that call. And maybe we will see it one day soon. My fellow Americans, people of the world, we are not alone.